Matthäus Hetzenauer was born on December 23, 1924, in the small mountain village of Brixen im Thale in Tyrol, Austria. He grew up in a rural Alpine environment shaped by farming, hunting, and hard physical work. Life in the mountains required patience, endurance, and careful observation of nature. These early experiences played an important role in shaping the skills that later defined him as a soldier. As a boy, he learned how to move quietly through rough terrain, judge distance, and shoot accurately while hunting, all of which were common and practical skills in his community, rather than signs of future military ambition. When the Second World War reached Austria, Hetzenauer was still a teenager. In 1943, at the age of 18, he was drafted into the German army, as Austria had been annexed by Nazi Germany several years earlier. He was assigned to the Gebirgsjäger, or mountain infantry, an elite branch trained to fight in harsh and difficult terrain. His early service did not immediately involve sniping. Like most new soldiers, he began with basic infantry duties, learning discipline, survival, and combat fundamentals under increasingly difficult wartime conditions. Hetzenauer was sent to the Eastern Front, where Germany was fighting a massive and brutal war against the Soviet Union. The fighting there was intense, relentless, and unforgiving. Casualties were extremely high, and soldiers often faced extreme cold, hunger, and exhaustion. During this time, Hetzenauer's natural shooting ability became noticeable. He demonstrated calmness under pressure and a high level of accuracy with a rifle. These traits led his superiors to recommend him for sniper training, a role that required exceptional patience, self-control, and mental resilience. After completing sniper training, Hetzenauer was assigned to the 3rd Mountain Division. As a sniper, his role changed dramatically. Instead of advancing with large units, he often worked alone or with a spotter, remaining hidden for long periods while observing enemy positions. His primary task was to target enemy soldiers, especially officers, machine gun crews, and others whose removal could weaken opposing units. This kind of warfare was mentally demanding and isolating. Snipers had to remain motionless for hours or even days, exposed to the elements and constant danger of being discovered. Hetzenauer quickly proved himself highly effective. He was known for his ability to judge distance accurately and adapt to changing conditions such as wind, terrain, and light. He used standard-issue rifles equipped with telescopic sights, relying on careful positioning rather than speed. Unlike some later myths about snipers, his work was methodical and slow. Each shot was taken only when success was highly likely. His mountain training helped him blend into rocky and forested landscapes, making him difficult to detect. By 1944, Hetzenauer had become one of the most successful German snipers on the Eastern Front. His confirmed kill count steadily increased, eventually reaching 345, the highest officially recorded total for a German sniper during the war. Kill confirmations in the German army required witnesses or other forms of verification, meaning the number reflects documented cases rather than estimates. Even so, the figure should be understood as a military record, not as a measure of personal pride or celebration. The war at this stage was already turning against Germany, and the scale of destruction on all sides was immense. Despite his effectiveness, Hetzenauer did not seek attention. Accounts from those who knew him describe him as quiet, reserved, and focused on survival rather than ideology or fame. Like many soldiers late in the war, his actions were shaped by duty, fear, and the desire to protect his comrades. The Eastern Front had become a defensive struggle for German forces, with constant retreats and heavy losses. Snipers were used to slow advancing enemy units and buy time, often at great personal risk. In April 1945, as the war was nearing its end, Hetzenauer was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, one of Germany's highest military honors. By that point, the German military situation was collapsing. Supplies were scarce, units were fragmented, and command structures were breaking down. The award recognized his military effectiveness, but it came at a time when Germany's defeat was already inevitable. Shortly afterward, Hetzenauer was captured by Soviet forces. His capture marked the end of his combat role but the beginning of a long and difficult period of imprisonment. Like many German soldiers taken on the Eastern Front, he was sent to the Soviet Union as a prisoner of war. Conditions in Soviet prison camps were harsh. Prisoners faced forced labor, poor nutrition, disease, and long periods of uncertainty. Many did not survive captivity, and those who did often returned home physically and mentally changed. Hetzenauer remained a prisoner of war for nearly 10 years. He was not released until 1955, long after the war had ended. By the time he returned to Austria, Europe had changed dramatically. Austria was rebuilding, and many former soldiers struggled to reintegrate into civilian life. The world they had left behind no longer existed in the same way. For Hetzenauer, like many veterans, the transition from war to peace was quiet and private. After his release, Hetzenauer chose to live a modest life. He worked as a carpenter and avoided public attention. Unlike some wartime figures, he did not seek fame or attempt to build a public identity around his military record. He rarely spoke about his experiences, and when he did, he reportedly described them without pride or excitement. For him, the war was a period of hardship and survival rather than personal achievement. In later years, historians and military researchers took interest in Hetzenauer's record, particularly in studies of sniper warfare. His name became known mainly in specialist military history circles rather than popular culture. His story is often compared with other famous snipers of the war, but he remained a reserved figure, never actively participating in interviews or public discussions to promote his legacy. Matthäus Hetzenauer died on October 3, 2004, in Austria. He lived to the age of 79, spending far more years in peace than in war. His life reflects the complex reality of soldiers who fought in extreme circumstances, shaped by their environment, training, and the demands of a brutal conflict. While his record as a sniper stands out in military history, it exists within the broader tragedy of a war that caused immense suffering on all sides. His story is best understood not as a tale of heroism or villainy, but as the experience of a young man drawn into one of history's most devastating conflicts, and who spent the rest of his life quietly carrying that past.